Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Entertainment Podcast, your source for all things entertainment. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Ali Samadpour on the line, and he's founder over at Prescient Digital, and he's also co-founder of Modular Merch. Ali, welcome to the show.
Hi, Adam. Thanks so much for having me on. I hope you've had a great week so far.
Oh, man, and it's getting better and better. I'm excited to get into what you're doing over at Prescient Digital and also the newly launched Modular Merch. Let's just start off with Prescient Digital. Tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Sure. So Prescient ended up starting, I want to say about 4 years ago in 2016, and it ended up when I left my last job, we were working with Universal Music Group and doing marketing over there. And I had a rare opportunity to have some of my clients come with me and launch a new business doing marketing for DJs and for music festivals. And ever since then, things have been going, and it's been an amazing journey so far.
Let's talk a little bit more about that space, because I feel like there's a lot of business owners, a lot of people in entertainment listening right now that aren't necessarily all musicians or artists, but they are on the creative side, but they go to these things, number one, but number two, this experiential marketing side of things, like festivals are a big deal now.
Yeah, I mean, compared to what the landscape was like in, I want to say 2013, 2014, the game has changed entirely. A lot of interest came into music festivals around 2015, 2016. A lot of corporate sponsorships came through, and a lot of the interest from young people to go to these events, it just went through the roof. So there's a lot of money pouring into it, and creating experiences became paramount for these music festivals. Now we have so much competition in the space. How are we unique? How are we different? And how are we going to keep customers coming back? And a lot of these festivals are doing very, very different things now. So, you still have these major events like Burning Man, which has been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
They're all attracting their own little niche. I think Ultra Music Festival is another great festival that's going on as well. I'm not sure if you heard, they just got canceled due to coronavirus. So that's becoming a bit of an issue. But these festivals are all creating unique experiences. A lot of the interesting ones are the camping festivals. Electric Forest out in, I guess it's somewhere in the Midwest, people go camp for 4 or 5 days together with their friends, and that becomes the experience that they all share together.
Wow.
Yeah, and then a lot of these festivals are also incorporating technology, and now we're talking about VR and AR in this space as well. So it's kind of like the wild, wild west as they integrate technology into their experiences as well.
And so on your end, I mean, you're doing digital marketing for quite a few different niches there. So I mean, you're working with everything from labels to global DJs to the brands. I mean, tell us a little bit more about about from your vantage point, the opportunity that there is with these festivals.
Yeah, I think the approach for each client needs to be unique and something different, and you have to mold to what they need. From an artist standpoint, it's just a matter of matching their brand and getting their voice right. And the same thing goes with keeping the ethos of the festivals that you work with and making sure you're on brand for what they do. The festivals that I work with, the main scope of my work is actually just doing the advertising. So it helps with their ticket sales. So doing a lot of ad buys on Facebook and Instagram, and knowing their audience and getting in front of them is what's going to help spend their budget correctly, and just highlighting the experience that they're creating as well. So the festival I'm going to next week, my client SXM Festival, that is in St. Martin. We're doing a lot of work with sustainability and volunteering and giving back to the local community, and that's what we're trying to showcase on socials now as the ticket sale, that period has kind of quieted down. We want to showcase the experience, how we're giving back. And then while we're at the festival, we're going to highlight that and also the experience on a more global scale. So you have to kind of adapt to the timeline of the festival.
Completely get it, and I know when you're there, you're working, so it's probably not as fun for you. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna be stuck in the studio. You're gonna be at these music festivals, so that's awesome. You picked an awesome career. I want to switch it up. I do want to get into and spend some time on the new business that you have coming, that you just launched. Modular merch. Tell us more about that.
Sure. So Modular Merch, I co-founded with my partner Philip, who is Berlin-based, and we were just kind of talking one day and talking about why one of his clients wasn't shipping merchandise to America. And he said, it's too expensive for the customer and for us to just ship it one at a time. And I said, well, why don't we set up a deal where you send me a bunch of this stuff, I'll store it in a warehouse, and I'll fulfill it for you. And then we got talking, and he was like, well, wait, I have interest from these other artists who are also in Europe, but don't even have merch at all. And that's when we really started thinking, and it was like, well, why don't we just start a merchandising business? He has experience sourcing products from Istanbul, from China, and Vietnam. And I'm based right here in America. I have a ton of contacts in the music industry space as well. And we decided, you know what, let's just start pitching out, let's create modular merch, let's create a deck, let's start approaching potential clients and let them know this is what we do, and kind of, I don't want to say wing it, but we kind of have winged it from there. And it's been, honestly, I've experienced tremendous growth from doing it with Philip. Like, starting a new business in an industry you're not familiar with is the best educator you could ever hope for. I've learned so much from it, but right now, you know, we've brought on our first client. We're getting ready to do 3 merchandising lines for them. And,
wow.
So it's been quite the experience to get these timelines right and get the designs right. These are things that I hadn't had to do before in the marketing world, but now, I'm just keeping up with what's necessary, and it's been, what an experience. Yeah.
Man, that's exciting. So what's next? What's on the agenda for Prescient Digital and Modular Merch going into 2020?
Modular Merch is going to be my big focus, I think, going into 2020, because I see tremendous potential there. Once we get more of our systems in place and we kind of get I want to say a template of sorts figured out, like this is what we have to do each time, it's going to become easier to scale the business. Because there's going to be a lot of demand, and we're already seeing there's quite a bit of demand, and we haven't even really announced the company yet. So I think that's
did today on the podcast, so it's on now.
Believe it or not, this is the first time I've announced it in a podcast or even in writing, anything like that. So that's a huge focus going forward. And then with Prescient, I'm looking to maybe pull away from doing like the social media aspect of it and just purely focus on advertising. Something I learned working with more festivals is when you give me an ad budget, I can quantify, you put in this many dollars and this is how much you got back. So I can tell you your return on ad spend, and it becomes easier to quantify your value as well. So I think I want to pivot towards more advertising with Prescient.
That's awesome. So that being said, Ali, if somebody's listening to this and they want more information on Prescient Digital or Modular Merch, what's the best way for them to follow?
Visit the website, www.prescient.digital, or hit me up on Instagram. It's at Ali, 2 underscores, and my last name, Samadpour.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Ali, been awesome having you on the show today, and great catching up and telling us some more about what you're doing over at Prescient Digital and also Modular Merch. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you had fun listening, because we had fun making this and bringing this for you. So that being said, subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Entertainment, definitely give us a subscribe there. Leave us some comments in the comment section. Love to hear what you're up to and what kind of projects you're working on. And Ali, thanks again for coming on the show.